Hey everyone, PushingUpRoses here. Today I'm going to be going through a few games from 2015 that I really liked. It's not going to be a top 10 per se, just an unranked list of games that really exceeded my expectations this year. So without further ado or arbitrary numbers, here it is. Some awesome stuff. The first game I want to showcase is Episode 1 of Bertram Fiddle, an indie adventure game released on Steam in April by Rumpus Animation. I did a first impressions review on this game several months ago and was really charmed by the art style and silly sense of humor. Set in Victorian London, you play as a slightly bumbling detective named Bertram Fiddle, who is on the trail of Jeff the murderer, accompanied by his one-eyed sidekick, Gavin.
Ah, Fiddle. What brings you here? Come to bore us with more tales of one of your piffling adventures, have you?
No! I'm on a mission to return this bag unto its rightful owner.
Beautiful animations, really enjoyable dialogue that doesn't seem to wear on me or trail into tangents, and proper use of dodos, even though I didn't catch that this was also a dodo, and people gave me shit for it in my review. Oh gee, I'm sorry, I guess I was distracted by this entire bird massager contraption thing. Bitch at me for it, why don't ya? I bet you'll feel so much better if you do. Anyway, there's only one episode out thus far, but I definitely liked it. I am a sucker for a murder mystery game, especially when it has humorous facets. Kind of reminds me of The Cheap Detective in that vein. It's filled with stereotypical British jargon and really strong voice acting, though some people may find the puzzles on the easy side.
Oh, good evening, Mr. Fiddles. The usual.
Yes, please. One can never have enough tea.
The puzzle design didn't really hinder my experience with the game, but if you're more on the side of, I need puzzles that make me want to punt penguins into fiery pits, or argh, then this may not satiate that. If you want a really fun experience with quality art design and enjoyable characters, then I'd say it's worth a glance. The developer also created this awesome portrait of me in the style of the game, so awesome! Look how classy I am. I have a pipe! Dropsy is a game I was immediately intrigued by. The title was developed by Tendershoot and released on Steam in September. After seeing another producer play the demo of this game, I found myself really looking forward to its release. You play as this clown-type character named Dropsy, who is falsely accused of burning down the circus he and his parents used to work for. Everyone is very unsure of Dropsy, but they come to realize how kind and unselfish he is through random acts of altruism. Dropsy also really loves hugs, even when they're given to trees and plants. The art style and gameplay is very reminiscent of point-and-clicks past, especially the LucasArts games. Case in point, I can drop some Sam and Max sprites in the game and they look like they belong there. The story might be really simple, but this game does a really great job in being completely uncynical, and it really left me with very earnest feelings of warmth and fuzziness, fuzzy like mold. The entire atmosphere is really well designed, and the characters are really expressive and are fun to interact with, even though the game doesn't have any discernible voiceover. Characters speak in mumbles, and you determine what they want you to do or what they're saying with these little visuals. The game also has a very surprising ending, which I personally was very pleased with, though others have touted it as being too weird. Whatever man, bring on the weird, I say. Bring on the Dropsy. I love this title. Dropsy is like a comforting bowl of clam chowder on a dreary day. It almost makes me want to hug someone. Almost. Franbo is one of the most ambitious and well-done indie games I've had the pleasure of playing in a long time. It was designed by only two people who call their company Kill Monday and released in August. This title really justifies the faith I have in the adventure game genre. It's captivating, disturbing, and heart-wrenching all at the same time. The themes get really heavy, some of them being about abuse, mental illness, grief, and murder. You play as Fran Bow, a little girl whose parents have been murdered, resulting in Fran having to go to a mental institution. Your goal is to escape the institution and find out the truth about your parents, and also search for your beloved kitty, Mr. Midnight. When you find him, he joins you for the rest of the game. With the assistance of these red pills, you can switch between realities, though the red pills often depict a world full of disturbing visuals, gore, and depression. I really like this mechanic. It reminds me of Trilby's Notes, only in that game you take the pills in the dark reality to trigger the normal one. Fran Bow does a great job of maintaining this creepy atmosphere while breaking it up with parts of fantasy and elements of love and friendship. And the story's ambiguous ending was so compelling it spawned a lot of fan theories and discussion. I was obsessing over this game long after it was over, analyzing the characters and the symbolic elements and so forth. It has a distinct Lewis Carroll vibe going on, and some of the themes also remind me of other games like Sanitarium and The Cat Lady. It's fantastical but morbid, distressful but hopeful. This game isn't just one of my favorites of this year, but it's now one of my favorites of all time. In fact, Fran Bow is my Game of the Year! Congratulations, Fran Bow! Your prize is my eternal love and this little graphic I made that will pop on the screen now. Now, I don't normally find myself a game fanatic. Being of a brooding personality, I find it difficult to get extremely excited over a franchise or piece of entertainment, with the exception of anything with Dave Grohl in it. I love you, Dave Grohl. Please notice me. You're everything. I want to have your babies. But I can honestly admit to you that the new King's Quest game did have me pretty hyped. Not like hype train hyped, but you know, moderately hyped. I was on the hype station wagon. I didn't really know what to expect out of this new game adapted from one of my favorite series of all time, the King's Quest games developed by Sierra, but I was pleasantly surprised. The game looks lovely, plays very well, and it manages to pay respect to the previous games, but it's definitely not a cheap mimic or remake. It tells the story of King Graham in its own unique way and style while managing to play like a King's Quest game. It does have some new components, like the light action sequences that I rather enjoyed, to be honest with you, but overall this is an adventure game. I got stuck on some of the puzzles and put in a decent amount of hours going through the first episode. I'm not sure if I'm quite sold on Christopher Lloyd playing older King Graham, as I am so used to hearing Josh Mandel.
All right, let's get back to the dragon.
But as the episodes get released, maybe I'll get used to him. The game is a bit on the silly side, more so than the originals, but I did enjoy it, and I find the characters very easy to remember because they had their own fun personalities.
Mr. Fancy Cakes, I saw that look in your eye. Don't you dare touch my unicorns! They're for looking only.
I like the idea of telling the story of King Graham before he became a knight in King Edward's kingdom, and I think this game does a decent job of depicting it. It's also just awesome to see such a classic series loved by so many people get some kind of continuation, and I think a new game will also put the original series back in the limelight again, which is really exciting for me to see. Even if I had despised this game, it would still make me happy to see the story continued and get some love. I have very high hopes for the future episodes, especially if they are anything akin to the quality of this one. Imagine a world where you can soar through the air, propelling yourself at gigantic balls. Imagine cars playing soccer and wearing cute little hats. Look, a little fez. It's cute, isn't it? I can customize my car to represent my soul. See, I'm crapping out candy corn and bats. Imagine Rocket League. Oh, but how you destroyed my relationships for a month on end. How the bridges they did burn and become scorched by the burning animosity between me and my crap friends who can't get the goddamn ball in the net. Oh, Rocket League, you're my only friend now. Just you and me. Burning passion. Burning flames on the side of my face. Heaving breath. Heaving Undertale! Ah yes, Undertale. I recently did a review on this game, so forgive me if I start to repeat myself. Undertale slipped past me. I was ready to write it off as nothing special after seeing some otherwise primitive looking screenshots, but after playing it for just a few hours, I found myself completely engaged. Sometimes it's nothing special to look at, but it really does remind me of classic RPGs, and whatever it lacks in advanced design makes up for with humor, fun, gameplay, and nostalgia, or all the feels, as one would say. It was written and designed by Toby Fox with extra artwork by Temmie Chang and released in September. Fox already had a reputation for creating an Earthbound Halloween hack in 2009 and as a music producer. The game can either be played as a pacifist or a homicidal maniac and has 3 very involved endings. It has twists and turns, drama, skeleton people, ghost people. turtles, and the ability to flirt with your enemies, and trust me, I love flirting with my enemies. Wink. Much like Franbo, this game has spawned a lot of game theory videos. While I think some of them are far-fetched, I watch them anyway because I love hearing other people's thoughts on the characters and storyline. I'm also just a big fan of humor that utilizes web and pop culture, and the game is chock full of that. Not to mention a lovely soundtrack that reminds me of all the retro JRPGs I used to play when I was younger. It also takes care not to just slap you in the head with narrative. You learn the story very gradually, and I never felt like it was a slog. The game was really hyped and has a lot of popularity, which may be off-putting to those who want to try it. I know whenever someone suggests a game to me in an over-exuberant way, I just want to do the exact opposite and avoid it on purpose. But that's the cynical side of me. Once I rejected all of my preconceived notions and went into it with a blank slate and allowed myself to enjoy it, I did. And if you need help deciding, ask yourself, what would Papyrus do? Or WWPD? That should be on bracelets. Read Only Memories is an unusual take on a cyberpunk adventure game released by Midboss in August. The thing that captured my attention right away is its resemblance to Kojima's graphic adventure game Snatcher, only Read Only Memories doesn't portray the cyberpunk scene in a hopeless, almost post-apocalyptic way where everything is falling apart. It's actually really colorful and the animations are really charming. You play as a journalist who encounters a sapient robot, or a ROM as the game calls them, named Turing, presumably named after Alan Turing, the mathematician and computer scientist who needs help unraveling the mystery of his missing owner. It's delightfully nerdy and smartly written in terms of technology and also has a great mystery angle. It takes some inspiration from Gabriel Knight, which I can absolutely see from all the interrogative gameplay. It looks kind of fluffy and has a lot of lighthearted elements, but it actually gets quite serious with themes about the darker side of technology, murder, violence, and social injustices. It's extremely diverse with its range of characters, which just makes me feel really good. It also has brilliant sound design, which is not something I noticed right away, but I absolutely did with this title. The only thing I can see people taking issue with is that the dialogue tends to be a little repetitive and sometimes even overbearing, but despite that, I really enjoyed this game. It's not very often I play a point and click with this graphical style, where the settings are mostly static, though obviously the character portraits are animated with expressions and lip sync, and you are seeing things through a window, almost like Shadowgate, but the gameplay was surprisingly smooth. You can also get people to like you or dislike you depending on how your dialogue trees progress. Obviously, Turing quite likes me. I'm confident in Purr's ability to push on. She is surprisingly stubborn. It's like the game knows me personally. And before we conclude this video, I wanted to give a shout out to a few titles I also really enjoyed but didn't write a full excerpt on. Props to the Charnel House Trilogy by Owl Cave Games, a wonderfully horrific adventure game. Mortal Kombat X, I'm a huge fan of the franchise overall and I always play the shit out of them. Not to mention badass female characters with badass fighting skills, aw yeah. And Stasis, which I didn't get to finish, but I love the isometric design, the really bleak atmosphere, and resemblance to another one of my favorite games, Sanitarium. Overall, I think this was an amazing year for gaming, especially within the adventure game genre. Damn straight. And there you have it, a bunch of games I really enjoyed from 2015. I hope you enjoyed it, and I so look forward to reading the comments that say, "But Roses, you forgot to put this game on your list." 'Cause you know, those comments are just the best. Happy holidays, and if you want to see some more comprehensive reviews I did on some of the games I mentioned in this video, I will have them linked in the description. If I don't have them linked in the description, yell at me until I put them there. Thanks again, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take it away, annotation screen!